Hey, so we are here with Lindsey McCurdy Peek. We are checking in our off season between 2024 and 2025. What you been up to since Epson Tour champ? I mean, we had a really strong finish, ending up our season last year. You were in the top 35, so had that automatic bid into final qualifying. Yeah, just kind of talk about what you've been up to since then.
Yeah, it feels like I've had a lot and like not a lot at all at the same time. It's kind of weird that way. Because after our final tournament, I was still getting ready for Q school final stage, so it didn't really feel like off season. And then I was also doing some wedding planning because I got married right after the final stage. So yeah, it kind of felt like a lot of the same because I'd been doing that all year. And then yeah, we, like I said, right after final stage went and got married and then took a lot of time off, which was definitely needed.
Yeah, for sure. So being in that top 35 ending tour champ, how did that like really motivate you to go into that tournament with all that you've got, knowing that your entry fee was paid for, you just had to get there, train, and make the most of the week. How did that, all line up for you?
I mean, the goal is obviously always top 10 or top 15. But if that doesn't happen, you always kind of have that top 35 number in your head just because it does take a lot of weight off your shoulders, knowing that it's paid for and you don't have to worry about second stage. So that was like obviously a really big goal of mine. Last year I fell just outside of that. And so I feel like every year I've kind of come back and gotten a little bit better and better. So this year, I think I finished 22nd, and that really helped just kind of ease some of the nerves of just not even just golf, like financial stress that comes with. So yeah, that was really good. I was really happy about that. And so, like I said, once I got done with Tour Championship, all I could do is just focus on my game and keep it going for final stage.
That had to have been like a giant relief. I mean, just how did that all, play out, having 4 days between the end of final qual to your wedding day?
Yeah, it was actually fine. I feel like I had a lot of people kind of look at me like I was crazy when they were asking when I was getting married, and I'm like, oh, Friday, like it's nothing. But I mean, we knew that going in all year. I picked the date like around sometime last off season, and I'm pretty sure I even asked Jody like before the schedule even came out, like, hey, when is final stage? Because I know that's gonna be the last tournament if it is your last tournament. So I think I knew the dates before anyone did, and Jody kind of like helped me out there, even though he probably maybe not wasn't supposed to. But no, so that was kind of always like, that might be worst case scenario, but that's a good problem to have, right? I just wanted to be done with golf whenever we had our wedding, and I knew it was going to be a quick turnaround, but at the same time, we had everything pretty much planned at that point, and that's what our venue owners kind of told us, like, yeah, we'll have all these deadlines for you like a month and 2 weeks before. So, I mean, at that point, we kind of had it all figured out anyway. So as crazy as it sounded, it really wasn't bad. And as the year went on, I kind of told everyone like it's been kind of nice to like. It almost feels like the wedding planning distracted me from golf, and then golf distracted me from like the wedding stress. Like they kind of helped me just to, one of them was stressing me out, I would just focus on the other, and it
Yeah.
kind of worked itself out. It was kind of nice. So,
Yeah,
and then,
you always had something else to kind of like take yourself to in like a stressful moment. That is nice. That's definitely convenient.
yeah, exactly.
Besides the wedding, what else have you kind of been up to since your off season? I mean, we talked a little bit about skiing, but yeah, what have you been getting into?
It's always crazy to me how fast the off season goes, and especially with, we had final qualifying the first week in December, and then 4 days later had a wedding. I just feel like all that was a week ago, and it just flies. I obviously kept practicing from October to December, getting ready for Q school, and I always try to give myself a few weeks off. So after the wedding, I actually think it was right at a month off. I kind of needed it. I've had some elbow issues that I've been struggling with too. So I think that was really like necessary just to not focus on golf for a little bit. I do it every year, and I think it really helps me like mentally too. Um, but I mean, I'm still making gains like in the gym and like I said, just trying to focus on some goals of like now that I can sit back and reflect and say, okay, like what would I do different next year to kind of take it to that next level of, okay, now instead of that top 35 being the goal, how can I like maintain being in the top 10 or top 15? So really, I feel like that's the biggest things I've been doing, aside from just like a vacation here and there, maybe skiing. And then Patrick and I adopted two little kittens.
Oh my God.
So they are the cutest little things. So I feel like just taking care of them, stay at
Yeah.
home mom now. But
Awesome.
yeah, no, it's been fun.
Oh, I love that. And you talked about you've been really focusing on your training, kind of your attack plan for coming like going into the 2025 season. What's like a new drill or a new workout you've been doing in the gym, like anything training specific that kind of you've been really trying to nail down during this off season?
Well, I know that like I've always tried to go to the gym like pretty regularly, and I think I was a lot better about it last year. But one of the goals we kind of talked about was maybe just getting a little more distance off the tee. Especially when I mean, I learned like final stage of qualifying, it played pretty long. And I know a lot of people told me that going into it, that those were the first time I played those courses. And some of the girls that played there already were saying like, yeah, it plays long. And then it was freezing cold, so you don't hit the ball as far. And I felt like that was really when I said, okay, I know I've gotten stronger in the gym over the last couple of years, but maybe just really like applying it to golf specific. So we're trying to do some more like speed stuff and ways to like just gain a little distance off the tee because I've learned that just because you get stronger in the gym doesn't necessarily mean it's going to like directly correlate to your
Yeah.
distance on off the tee or whatever, whatever shot you're hitting just because you still swing the same. So trying to like apply it more to golf this year has been one of the biggest things we've changed.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm like, I love that sport specific training stuff. That's always been like a huge like interest of mine. So and not being a golfer personally, I find it super interesting, like the workouts that you guys do to train for golf. It's just, I love that stuff. I mean, I tried to do a golf lift not too long ago.
Oh yeah.
I have never been so sore across like my front shoulders and chest. Oh my God. Like, I mean, it's a completely different muscle group than I've ever really had to use for swimming and stuff like that. It's crazy. I mean, the range of motion that you guys have and the strength you've got in that range of motion is just wild to me. I mean, it blows my
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah, I played basketball in high school too, and I brought like my two best friends that played basketball with me like out to the driving range one time and they like never played, but they're super athletic and strong and obviously like good basketball players. So I'm like, all right, let's see. And we like hit a bucket of balls and the next day they were like, I'm so sore. And I was like, where? Like I just wasn't expecting it, but I think it was like in their back and shoulders too, like
Yes,
you said.
yeah.
Just stuff you don't usually use. And I was like, I would not have thought they would get sore from that,
Yes,
but they
that's like
did.
one of the pro-am parties that we had this past season where they had like a driving range or whatever. My whole spine the next day, it felt like somebody had taken me and like tried to wring me out like a
Oh my gosh.
it's like I
Yeah.
have never been so tight before. What is happening? Like
Yeah, that is so crazy. It's like until you do something different, you don't realize like how much you're using or not using certain muscles. We were
exactly.
doing that for skiing too. I was like super sore in like my shins and my feet. And I was like, okay, I didn't think that like my shins would be tired, but they're tired.
Exactly. All right. So are there any specific goals that you've got set for yourself going into the 2025 season?
Yeah, like I said, that's something that I actually wanted to be like a little bit more intentional about this off season, really trying to like visualize what I think I need to do to improve next year and giving myself like objective goals that I can actually reach. So obviously, like I said, top 10 would be my goal, the ultimate goal. I mean, top 15 would be great too, but I think just that next level of like not stressing about getting into those early events would be really nice and avoiding Q school altogether.
Yeah.
Um, so that was my like Epson Tour goal. And then I have a lot of like mental goals where I'm just really trying to like Be a little bit more patient. I know every year that I tell myself, like, it really is like a marathon. It's not a sprint. No, like one bad week or one bad day is not going to kill you. But then when you get in the heat of the moment, like you just kind of forget about that sometimes. So I'm really trying to keep that in mind. Um, I will say that actually, so Patrick is going to be caddying for me full time this year,
That's
which is
awesome.
really exciting. And so I feel like we've been talking a lot about like how he can help me. Obviously, it's nice to just have a caddy every week, but it's also nice that he can be there to help me, like to remind me in those moments because I do feel like a lot of times when I'm playing and I'm out there all by myself, I just kind of like start feeling sorry for myself or I forget about things that are really important and know when to shake things off. So I think us working together is going to be really good for me for that. I think I don't know who actually messaged me on Instagram that asked like
That
hey, what
was
are your
me.
okay.
That was me.
I
Yeah.
thought it was you, but I was like, it was so like professional. I was like, okay,
It
like I
might
don't know
not
who's doing
be. You never
this.
know. I had to make
Yeah.
it somewhat formal, so it made it seem like our professional, social media manager was messaging all of our players.
Yeah, I hadn't seen the trend of like the screenshots and stuff. And then I saw a couple of them. I'm like, oh, okay, that's
Yeah.
what you're doing. But I think I also said on there that I want to be besties with my putter, which is so true because I feel like I know I said I want to like gain some distance off the tee, but in all honesty, like ball striking is never my issue. It's like, and I'm sure a lot of golfers say this, it's like you come away saying like I should have like I could have made so many more putts or my putting let me down. I think that's so much of professional golf in general. But I'm just really hoping like this year is just my year of like me and my putter are just like
Yeah.
gonna be besties for
You
sure.
like this.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's have you switched out any of your clubs between last season and this season, or is the bag kind of staying the same?
It's similar. I'm actually going tomorrow. I mean, I haven't since the wedding and since Q school, I haven't taken too many full swings. Just because, like I said, that was like a month ago, and I've had a little bit of elbow issues, but I'm actually feeling better now. And so tomorrow, I'm gonna try to get some of the woods maybe changed out, but I think I'm keeping it a lot of the same. I'm not much of a. I don't like to make too many changes in my
Yeah.
bag, so.
Yeah.
Um, I am switching my putting a little bit. We're working on some putting stuff, but we'll see. I think right now I'll just keep the same putter.
We're gonna see you with one of those like super long putters that goes all the way up to your chest.
Never. If no,
Not your
that is not
style.
for me. Yeah, if you see me with that, like please, like come check on me. I'm not well.
Something's going on if we get
Yeah, yeah.
the body length putter out. All right. So do you feel like you know how to prepare better for the season after spending your time out on tour for 8 seasons? Do you have kind of like a game plan going in? What have you learned, that you're coming into this with a different mindset or whatever? I mean, I feel like your game, from what we saw last year, is looking really, really consistent, really strong. So we're expecting, to see some good things out there this season. But like, what have you learned on your own, that you're going to take in this year?
Yeah, I feel like I learn every single year. I mean, if I'm being completely honest, I did not think I'd be doing it this long. And then I start playing and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's already been, 4 years, 5 years. And you feel like you're just getting started because you learn something every year about yourself and about golf and professional golf at that, because it's completely different than, say, college golf or just, whatever level you're at. It's just a completely different experience. So yeah, I feel like there's a lot of things that I feel like every year I take away and say, okay, this, next year we're gonna try that. Not to mention I've had like some health issues in the past, so like I felt like those years kind of didn't feel like a full year, or it didn't feel like it counted. So
Yeah.
when you say 8 years, it feels crazy. I'm like, I cannot believe I've been doing it that long. Um, but yeah, I mean, there's just like little things from hey, maybe a little distance off the tee might do me some good. Or hey, yeah, I really like look back at my putting stats and that wasn't, I want to improve this part of it. Um, but I just feel like, the off season's like a great time to kind of sit back and take some time off. It's actually really nice for me, I think, every year just to like not think about golf for a little bit, spend some time at home
Yeah.
with family, um, and just work on what I need to work on. So yeah, I think I pretty much touched on most of the things I think I like personally want to work on. But yeah, I think every year just I have some sort of takeaway about professional golf and traveling and managing my time. There's so many different aspects that you don't even think of until you're in it that you realize like, okay, this is something that you really need to like spend time on.
Yeah. That actually makes me think of one more question. So, what is something that you're never going to leave home without this season that's always going to be in your bag, that you're going to have with you on the road throughout the whole season this year?
That's a really good question. Um, well, this year it'll be my husband.
That'll be exciting.
Yeah, that's a good one. Um, what am I not gonna leave without? Man, threw a curveball at me.
Yeah, I briefed you on the rest.
Yeah, yeah. Um, hmm. One thing I have not learned about is like every time we have a rain delay, I don't know what to do with myself. And I'm like, maybe every time I sit there and we're just waiting on the next announcement, I'm like, I should have brought this. I should have brought that.
To
Like,
yeah, to pass the time. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So maybe I know Kenzie would be down to find something fun for us to bring on
Yeah.
like during those because you
Maybe
just
like
know we're gonna have.
a switch or something, and like play it like
Yeah.
Mario Kart in between.
Yeah. I have been playing some video games in the off season, so it might be some Switch. That would be
Oh my God. That would be
yeah.
iconic.
Yeah. I feel like I mean everything else after 8 years you kind of like know what to bring and what to
Yeah,
travel with.
yeah. You're
For
not
some
forgetting
reason.
things at this point.
Yeah, but like rain delays, I'm like so bored.
Oh
So
yeah. Definitely gotta find something to fill that time this year.
yeah, we'll find something fun and then we'll have some good content
Maybe
from
we
it.
can get like a board game box or something to put on the truck. And it's just we pull that out every time that it rains. And
Yeah.
hopefully there's
I
not too many of those this year.
Yeah, because a lot of times we also don't have very good service. So then
No,
you're,
you can't use your phone really either.
no.
Oh man. Well, thank you so much for doing this. It was awesome to get to catch up. Look,
Yeah, it was fun. Thank you for
gotta,
asking me.
yeah, of course. We're excited to get started. I think we've got about 5 weeks until we're back. So
Crazy.
coming up
Yeah,
quick.
I know.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.